Let's implement MVC design in our application, and we are going to do it at the backend. And we have already created the folders already. We have the controllers, model, and then the router over here. As you can see, at this point, we are writing everything on a single file. But the responsibility of the server file is to run the server, and that is it, with some configurations. But as it stands right now, we are implementing all the logics on one file. And since we are developing this project feature by feature, our code will be more as you move on. So we need to find a better way to restructure before it gets out of hands. So before we get into the MVC design, we are going to use Express Router to reduce the number of codes that we are going to write on this file. Remember, we have many models based on our application features, which means that we are going to create route for each of these. And each of these models, we can have 4 or 5 routes or controllers. As you can see, our application has the potential to grow. So it's time for us to start to structure it very well. So let's go ahead and then restructure this project. And like I said, that we are going to use Express Router, and from there we will go ahead and implement the complete MVC design. What has left is the router and then the controllers. So inside here, we are going to create a folder for each model. So let's begin with the post model. So here as post router, or just post. And then inside, I'm going to create a file called post router.js. So we are going to require the express, and we have a method called express.router. So I will say that create instance of express router. And it goes like this, express.router as a function call. And we are going to assign to a variable called router, which is equal to that. And then on the router, we have all the HTTP methods, for example, get, put, delete, and then the others. So let's begin with the post. All right. But I prefer to name my router based on the model. So here, I'm going to use what is called post router, which is equal to that. And let me rename this one to post router. Inside here, we are going to pass in the endpoint and then the callback function. And the endpoint is this one, which is this. This one is for create. So I'm going to copy this one and then paste it here. This is my endpoint. And then comma the callback function, and we have the callback function here as this. That ends here. As you can see, this is the endpoint, and the second argument is the callback function. So let me write it here for you to see what I mean as that. All right, and here too we have access to rec and response, and our logic goes in here. So I'm going to cut the callback function from here, and that is the async handler here, up to this side. So if I cut it, as you can see, we have the endpoint only here. So we're going to replace with this one. Remove this and then paste it here. All right, so now let's require the async handler, which is this. Copy that and then paste it here, and this one is for create post. And this is how I prefer to add my comment. All right, so the next one is going to be the get or post. So I'm going to select all, copy that, and back here, let me collapse this one, and this one is for list or post, and paste that. Over here, we will need the post router instead of the app here. So here as post router, and everything remains the same. Collapse it, and let me remove this one. And now for the update, I'm going to copy that back here, paste it, and change the color for this comment as that, also as that, and change this one to post router. Likewise, so I can even go ahead and then remove it. As you can see how we are refactoring our code. And cut this one from here, and then collapse it and paste it here. This one is for get post. And then change this one to post router, and then collapse it. And the last one is going to be the delete. Cut it from here, and then paste it. Change the color for this comment to something like this, and then change this one to post router. All right, as you can see, things are getting cleaner than before. So I can go ahead and remove these guys from here. Last step is that how are we going to use these routers? As it stands right now, if I make a request, you're going to see route not found on our server because there is no file on the server file to run. And as it stands right now, the router file and then the server, they don't have any connection. So we are going to export this post router as module.export, which is equal to post router. So here we will need the post model, which is this. So let me see if the auto import is fine, and indeed it is fine. How are we going to use it? Remember, we have exposed this as a function, so we're going to use this one as a middleware. So back to the server file, I'm going to have a comment, and I will say route handlers, and it goes like this: app.use. And for this, we're going to provide the path / and then the post router. The auto import is fine, which is this one. So for this one, we don't need it here. Remove that and remove the async handler also. Perfect. Now with this one, if I try again, as you can see, now it worked. And if I go to list or post, it also worked.